Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! News, where the news comes last and the weather comes later. As some of you may already realize, and I assume most of the Yu-Gi-Oh! People do, the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2017 is currently being played. Well, not at the moment I'm recording this, not exactly at the moment I'm uploading this, due to the fact that it's in Japan, and at the moment of recording and uploading, they're still sleeping there. However, yesterday, well, you could still say today because it was Saturday in Japan. Um, the entire Swiss tournament took place, and also the quarterfinals for all tournaments. So I'd like to take you through a little bit of what happened. These are the participants at the main event, 26 people, which is quite a lot. Let's see here. You can see how they qualified. Obviously, the champion from last time, Shinsuke Hajime or Hajime Shinsuke, depending on where you're from, you could say it in a different order. Either way, two-time champion. Remember how he even got here? 3 years ago, 2014, he got second place. I believe it was a Canadian player that won that world championship. So that Canadian player obviously got their direct invite to Worlds. The Japanese player wasn't able to get their invite to Worlds 2015. However, after the Canadian player in 2015 was disqualified for something and was banned for tournament play for at least some time until after Worlds, which meant that Shinsuke Hijima got that Worlds invite because obviously they couldn't invite a person that was banned. Therefore, the second place person from the tournament got in, and Shinsuke Hajime got into the tournament without originally qualifying for it, won the 2015 tournament, which got him his invite to 2016, won 2016. Does he get his 2017 crown? Well, I can tell you that he doesn't. I don't know where exactly it happened, whether it was in Top Card or earlier on during Swiss. There is a source that says that he got disqualified from the tournament due to multiple slow play warnings and then still playing slowly. But someone else replied to that with that he was behind in a match 1-0 and then got a game loss for slow play. Either way, he lost at some point, and he is not in the top four. Who I can tell you that both these two Italian players, Marcello Barbetti and Michael Forner, are in the semi-finals, and they will not be facing each other. The third Italian player, Daniele Stella, the top-ranked Italian player, didn't make it to the top four. Still two Italian players, two European players in the top four. That's awesome. I recall that Barbetti, I'm not sure if it was at the World Championship qualifiers, which he didn't eventually win. I think so. I think he originally, purely on points, because on points you can qualify for Worlds. He already had enough for Worlds, but he wanted to play in the World Championship qualifiers anyway, which is perfectly legal, and I have no issues with that either. Which he eventually won. I think it went 17-0, undefeated. I don't recall what deck he used. I recall watching a deck profile of that, but either way, he won that going undefeated to my knowledge, which definitely meant that he could go to Worlds. Like, he won the World Championship qualifiers and he had enough points anyway, with another Italian in the final. So would both of these two players win their semi-final match, it would be an Italian standoff in the finals of Worlds, which will be a repeat of the finals of the World Championship qualifiers in Europe, which would be really exciting. They will play different decks, as I believe at least I want to say Barberia used Zodiac at the qualifiers. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, none of them are playing Zodiac. I'm not really sure why. Maybe due to the different lists that like OCG already has more of the Zodiacs on the Forbidden Limited list. I'm not sure. Um, I believe that there's one Wind Witch Invoke deck in top four. There's at least one Dino deck. I believe it's even Dino Yang Zing, which I find an interesting combo, but I can see why that would work due to the various destruction effects that the Dinos also have. And then there's also at least one True Draco Demise deck. Possibly there's a second True Draco deck. I'm not sure. I've seen quite a lot of True Draco in the streams that I have seen, although mostly due to the fact that it's nighttime in Europe, mainland Europe, when the stream is going on. I wasn't able to watch much. I watched round one live, and then I watched some of the other matches after I woke up, just on the replay of the stream. So we have where are they? Marcelo Barbieri in the semis, Mikael Former in the semis. Then we have, I believe, the player from Singapore, Shin Fei. He made it to the semis, and then one of the Japanese players. We know it's not Shinsuke Hajime. I just know it's another Japanese player. I think anyway. So it's one of these four. I'm not sure which ones. I think that's one of them that plays the Dino deck, the Japanese player. I'm not entirely sure anymore because we just, well, I at the moment don't have that information. It's quite hard to look it up because obviously definitely don't want to give out the deck lists after the first day due to the fact that, let's say, Marcelo Barbieri's deck list would be completely revealed, then any of his opponents, let's say Shen Fei would be his opponent, then Shen Fei would know exactly what Marcelo runs, knows that there's, for example, a potential lose one turn, a potential skill drain that he might have in his deck, to and he can play around that if he feels the opponent has it. That reminds me, I do think I did see a duel for Marcelo's, but then it was round 5 in Swiss. And I think it was Marcelo who has True Draco, but he does run a skill drain and I believe even 3 lose one turns to play against Dinos, I think. So I think Marcelo has True Kings. True Draco, whatever. I'm still not too much into the main competitive decks. I don't even know some of the effects of the cards being played in the stream, but I'm still excited about seeing what happens. Really excited to see who will win that tournament. Meanwhile, in Dragon Duel, I don't know much about who's in the top 4. The one player I do know is in the top 4 is Ryan Yu from Canada, and I'm a fan of his for multiple reasons. I saw the quarterfinals on stream, like when I rewatched it. He played against Connor Dwyer in the quarterfinals. Connor played True King, True Draco, whatever the thing is called, and Ryan Yu played Chainburn. And a lot of people discredit him for that, will dislike him for it. Some would even use the word hate. I don't like to use that word, so I won't for the rest of this. But a lot of people would dislike him for it. I don't, because it's a legitimate deck. And I played Chainburn quite regularly in the past and have found out some of its flaws. Some of that is inconsistency, even if you have decent amount of like effect damage and draw power. There's still some consistency things. The interesting thing I find about playing Chainburn or against Chainburn is that only the Chainburn player knows that he is at a disadvantage. Because 5 sets, or even 4, let's assume 5 set cards turn 1. A Chainburn player knows that they're doing really well if that of those 5 sets are Chain Strike, Secret Blast, Just Desert, Secret Barrel, or Geometrio. Then they can deal tons of damage. Although there's no draw cards in there. Did I name a draw card? I'm not sure. No, I did not. So maybe like Balance of Judgment, which Ryan Yu runs multiple combos of Balance of Judgment, which works so well for him. I'm really amazed by that. Worked well for him. But meanwhile, he could, instead of those 5 big damaging cards, he could also have 2 Just Desserts, and then a Balance of Judgment potentially, and then no a Geometrio at least. Cards that don't really help. Maybe he has a Blazing Mirror Force, which then gets Cosmic Cyclone. So then he barely has any options to play. So only the Chamberlain player really knows that. And Ryan Yu actually was at quite the disadvantage in the second game, but he actually was able to get it back from Connor. It was really exciting. So I'm rooting for Ryan to win Worlds. I'm saying it now. I'm rooting for Chainburn to play. But that's not the only reason I like him, due to the fact that he plays Chainburn and he plays it really well. During the resolution of chains, he is very careful in making sure the chains are in proper order. I don't feel it's because he's afraid the opponent will misuse that, but just because he wants clarity and wants to make sure that there's no confusion, which is very much like I want to have things. Connor, likely enough familiar with some of the Chainburn cards that were being played, sometimes asked to read the cards, to make sure that he knew exactly how it worked. And I think anyway, he appreciated that Ryan and one of the judges that was around helped with making sure that the chains were solved in proper order. What I also like about Ryan is that he is on it when the opponent makes an error, like an illegal error, whether it was intentional or not. Like I remember at one point Connor drew a card for his turn just during his draft, was accidentally picked up two, which he only realized after he had already seen that second card. Put the card back to only get that first card, but Ryan realized that there were two cards, so he immediately pointed that out. So the second card was revealed to both players to not give Connor an illegal advantage. Procedural error warning to Connor, and the game just continued from there. But Ryan was on it, and some would say, and I suppose I can see where you're coming from, that if you really push on certain things, that's not really sportsmanlike. But at the same time, you want games to go by the rules. You don't want your opponent to get an illegal advantage, not just because that lowers yours. But Ryan, the way he played seemed very similar to how I play, to how I want to play, and the fact that I quite regularly played Chainburn until like the 2-3 years ago, I quite regularly played it, and Ryan plays it now too, obviously with quite a different build than I had, partially due to the fact that there's just a lot of new cards available now. I'm rooting for Ryan to win the tournament. No clue who else is in the top four. I just know that Ryan is, so I'm looking forward to him winning. Duel Links is a really interesting format. I've seen, I think, two of the matches there, where the players select three different duelists, like characters available within the game, and they all have to have different skills. So you can't be like, yeah, I want Yugi with a balance skill and then Meiko with a balance skill. That's not possible. It has to be three different things. So maybe Meiko with balance, and then Mai with Harpy's Hunting Ground, and then Kaiba with Beatdown. That would be an option, and then just decks that you feel work with that. The one match I remember seeing last was Turtweb against DGZO in the quarterfinals, and Turtweb did win that. With the format just using three different ones, I believe it's best 2 out of 3. And if you win with a certain character, then you cannot use that character for the remainder of the match. So let's say these two people would play against each other, and he would use Kaiba, he would use Mai, and then the Kaiba player wins. Then they go into game 2, which means he can't use Kaiba. So maybe he has Merrick and Paradox Brothers remaining, has to choose between one of them for the next game. While this player could potentially use his Mai again, but he could also switch to Taya or Rex or whatever he has in the back. Yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm definitely going to watch some of Worlds. The next stream for the semifinals, and after that, the third place will start at 1 my time, which is Central Europe, which due to daylight saving being active is GMT plus 2, normally GMT plus 1. But I know that I'm 6 hours, I have 6 hours difference with Eastern time. So if it's 1 a.m. my time, that'd be 7 in the evening Eastern time, so Eastern Daylight Time, so place like in Florida and stuff, that'd be that time. And it already says here 8:30 Japan time, although watch out with that because the difference between 1 and 8:30 is different from 7 and 14, so there might be a little bit something off there. Either way, I'm going to definitely watch the semis, possibly not the rest, and then rewatch when I wake up the rest of what happened. I'm really excited for Worlds. I just really excited for big tournaments like that anyway. I'll definitely watch Pokemon Worlds, big tournaments with Pokemon, now with Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. I generally jump in when there's a big YCS for Yu-Gi-Oh! Watch some of that, and definitely I will watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds. This will be the first time, I think, that I don't really know a good amount of the cards that are being played. Like, I know that True Draco is good, I know that Invoked is good, that Wind Witch may be there, that the new Dino stuff from the Destruction deck are good, but I don't know what half of the cards do. Like, I know some of it, but I may not remember all of it. So that's quite interesting compared to previous years. So the fact that I've just been out of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! For almost a year. Like, consistent competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyway, I did make the occasional Dev Pro or Dueling Book video at the time, but in the past month that I've made Dueling Book videos again, I've not exactly learned too much about the competitive stuff. I know that True Draco just has ways to tribute summon by tributing continuous spells and traps. I know that the dinos are very good, have some cool special summon options. I'm just gonna slowly learn those cards as we go forward with my duel videos. Just let's see what'll happen. Assuming you see this video before the semis, before the finals have happened, please let me know who you think will win the tournament. Like which person will win the tournament in each of the three different things in the main event, in Dragon Duel, and in Duel Links. What kind of decks you think will win if you have knowledge about the decks? Like there's Invoke Wind Witch, True Draco, True King, whatever it's called, and Dino. And then in Dragon Duel, Chainburn or one of the others. How do you think the Chainburn will do in the semis and in the finals potentially if they make it? Otherwise, in third place. I'm hoping for Chainburn. I don't know much about what's being played on Duel Links. Besides the fact that there's just a lot of different decks, and there's 3 different decks per person anyway, so I can't really say that there's one best deck. It's a lot harder to tell. For Dragon Duel, I'm rooting for the Chainburn player, and I'm rooting for Dinos, whoever plays Dinos for main events. We're going to see if the Dino player does eventually win the tournament. That's the news video for today. It kind of turned into a discussion video, which I didn't intend, but I suppose that happens sometimes. I like talking, and I like Yu-Gi-Oh! So, yeah. That was the video for today. Good night, and good news.